Thank you for hitting play. Today we are going to talk about censorship. Are you for or against censorship?
Look, I just have one thing to say on the matter. I tell you what, you need to censor this episode with different tones. Maybe make it a bit more musical for each curse word.
Okay. Point taken. But my kind of censorship is not intellectual censorship. The only reason I'm doing this is to abide by YouTube laws. Because I can't just swear and, that's not advertiser friendly, and I'm trying to make this a job.
People curse on YouTube.
Yeah, but they don't get advertisements. And I'm trying to make this a job. Obviously you're against censorship, and so am I. But I don't consider bleeping censorship.
What?
Yes, I don't, because I'm an adult. I know what's being censored.
In my little rant at the beginning, can you tell what words in such a diverse vocabulary I was picking?
No, but if somebody can read your lips, they'll be able to tell. You censored yourself.
I censored my mouth. Now they don't know. Now it's a double kind of censorship.
Such a I'm against censorship when it comes to adult censorship.
Well, what do you call censorship? What is censorship?
I think censorship is a way of protecting people who are underage from seeing things that will either traumatize them or make them grow before they're meant to.
Is it only something that applies to kids?
Yes, absolutely, because they're not responsible enough to, process certain information and certain language and when to use it and when not to. But as adults, I think censoring adults is a terrible thing because we should be, given the responsibility to be able to tell what's good and what's not for our own consumption. Like, for example, I know that I would never watch, a gory horror movie. And it's only because I'm not a fan of horror movies. But I would never censor a gory horror movie because I know other people like it. So if they're into that, they should have the choice to go see it. That's the thing about censorship. Like, it takes away choice. And anything that takes away choice, I'm completely against.
But what if there are adults who watch our show?
Yeah.
And they come here for the curses?
Nobody comes here for the curses. They come here for our charisma.
Back me up here, people. I can respond to your concern of children being corrupted. I think that words in themselves... I'm quoting George Carlin here, who has a wonderful rant about how words are just tools. They're not intrinsically good or bad.
Right.
It's the context in which they are used that give them some kind of value. So just me spouting a bunch of curse words in itself is not bad. And I think the kind of offset for it is to be educated as to how these things are used and what they mean. So the children should be able to hear the curses, but they should know that this is perhaps a lower level of language, or this is kind of... I consider like pointless curses to be just filler in conversation. There are people who say like, I went here and I that and I whatever and I whatever, and it's just to kind of eat space without really saying anything. And that's just a poor use. You have your work cut out for you.
So many bleep tracks.
But strategically used. Like if I want to express something which requires me to say any of these kinds of words or to show this kind of imagery or anything, I don't think anybody should be not allowed to see it. They should just understand what it is and to know better. So again, I throw the ball into the court of education.
But the education system is at its worst at the moment.
Public education.
Yes.
But you can no longer blame public education. If you have access to the internet, which is not censored, then you should be able to educate yourself about pretty much anything.
That's true.
And of course, it would be good to have like guides who can teach you how to use the internet, to educate yourself.
Okay, I understand what you're saying about words being tools, but if you say, you know, to a kid, the F word, yes, the equivalent of procreate, they're going to ask you, what does that mean? And that opens them up to something that they're not ready for at that age.
Well, if you tell a 5-year-old
Yes.
what it is, then they will be more accepting of what the idea behind it is than somebody who's like 9 or 10 who has heard these things in the schoolyard and it's become kind of taboo and weird already.
Yeah, but it's not the fact that they're learning what it actually means. It's the context that it's being used in. So usually that word is used in a derogatory, you know, like it has a tone to it, like a negative tone to it. Yeah,
it's got a
like when I tell you, you, and a kid hears that, they instantly associate that to something being negative. And as they grow up, they associate, you know, procreation or, you know, intimacy or whatever to having that negative connotation to it.
What if you say, I would not be opposed to you? It's a bit of a compliment, isn't it? It's still got that kind of...
Would not be opposed to? You sound like you're hesitant. That's not a compliment.
No, I'm just trying to use it in a sentence that, you know,
Try
I would you. Were I given the opportunity. It still has this kind of, you know, rigidity, this kind of percussive sound to it, which we've attached to it, and the kind of meaning. But in itself, it's an aggressive sounding word.
It is. I mean, I don't use it often, but when I do, I feel good.
Yeah, because you've made it kind of a little bit taboo, and
I didn't make it taboo.
It's the chocolate you're hiding in your drawer. Every so often you reach in and you eat a piece, and you're like, oh, it's so delicious.
No.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like censoring adults is just censorship for adults is ridiculous, but for kids, I see why it's there, because you want to feed them information gradually.
Because parents aren't ready to tackle these subjects with their kids.
No, I think it's parents who should tackle these subjects.
They should.
They should.
But they don't want to. So they're saying, look, don't f*** my program.
And if they don't want to, then, you know, they're truly closed-minded and backwards.
They have to eventually.
It's a part of life. It's just a thing that we do. It's a physiological need. Eventually, they're going to discover it, whether the parents like it or not. So they need to have healthy conversations. They need to be open about it. It should not be taboo. But I'm saying, you know, once you reach a certain age, then you're free to use it as much as you want. You may be called vulgar or labeled as, you know, I don't know, ignorant or something. But, you know, at least you have the choice to use it. And once you do as an adult, then fair game. But as a child, to be exposed to that, and I don't know.
I would say in lieu of censorship, maybe putting a disclaimer would be better.
Absolutely.
So never censor anything. Everything is always open, but just at the front say that there is some language, there's some nudity, there's some violence.
And that happens.
And yes, but just censoring like certain words or in films certain scenes.
That's terrible. Especially if they're essential scenes to the plot of the movie.
Yes. And
but I think that's a whole other topic though. Like that's censorship in art. I don't think you should censor anything in art.
No. But then where do you draw the line between art and pornography?
If it's tasteful, if it's serving a purpose.
Something that I create might serve a purpose and be tasteful to me, but not to you.
Yeah, it's subjective.
I want this pool ball in this person's. This is my art. You might say, no, that's just a pool ball and that's neither art nor pornography. That's just depravity.
Sure, but I think that's where you as an adult at least have the choice. You have the freedom to express yourself and create that art. And the viewers have the choice to either say, this is completely distasteful, I don't like it, or, wow, I love it, you know? So that freedom is just essential, I think, to us as human beings. You should have full freedom to express yourself, no matter how perverted, no matter how extreme.
Yes.
And I have the same freedom to either tell you great job, I enjoyed it, or not even give you my feedback. Just feel the way I feel. I'm entitled to feel the way I feel.
Yes, and you can consume it or just not consume it.
Yeah. And I feel like, certain, I don't want to say governments, but certain entities, they use censorship on adults, and I think it's ridiculous.
It's like being treated like a child.
Exactly. Like, we're not responsible enough for our own choices. And I find that so disrespectful and so insulting. And I'm just against it 100%. And if you're an artist and you want to express yourself and people tell you you shouldn't say something or do something, they're in the wrong. And you should do whatever you want to do.
Well, I mean, it can come with certain repercussions. Like perhaps you're an artist in a more conservative country and you create a giant mosaic of a pool ball in someone's and you want to share your art and expression with your countrymen, your fellow artists, whatever, and you are thought of blessed for it, even though you are doing something very honest. This is just what you want to say or how you feel or whatever it is, but you have to deal with the stigmatization or the opinions that come with expressing yourself.
But just blatantly not being allowed to express yourself, that is the crime here.
It is a crime, but even the censorship, even if my sole purpose is to be provocative, I want to provoke a reaction from someone. I am a troll before trolls became trolls. That's what I want to do, but I'm not allowed.
I have a song about this called Escape the Box, and it's on my second album, Soundproof, and it's exactly about this. Being, like put in a box and being censored and being told to think a certain way, told to act a certain way, and I just hate that. Like, I don't feel like I have a lot of restrictions on myself, but I feel like that is just who I am as a person. I honestly am, kind of reserved and laid back, but
you're a lot more conservative than I am.
Absolutely, but in a lot of ways, I'm not considered conservative.
Maybe regionally you're very liberal.
Yeah.
But if you have the entire spectrum, of which even I am not the extreme, it's a precarious situation. But there is a silver lining to it. I think some of the most interesting ways or most creative things that people have done is to try to circumvent this kind of censorship by being within the realms of what is allowed, but just kind of dancing on the edge.
So, tell us what you guys think about censorship. Are you for or against, and why? And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You will see us next time.
Let it out.